So around 6 weeks ago, on the 9th of September, there was a preview on Crick Buzz talking about the India-Pakistan game coming up. The day after, we had India at 40 for 4, but the match was washed out. And the entire chat was about how Pakistan is looking incredibly good, how India can try and compete with them, and what India needs to do that day. And 6 weeks on, we have just lost Pakistan, just lost to Afghanistan, and are potentially looking, I mean, we still not officially out, but are for all intents and purposes out of the World Cup. Welcome to the shiny side. Things are not looking so shiny today. We are looking at the Afghanistan-Pakistan game. And I have with me once again, Umair Qazi, the man behind Well Pitched and Hulk Love Guy. How are you doing, Umair?
Hi, Faris. Doing all right. Doing okay. I'm immune, I think, by now to all such losses. We've seen so many over the years.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, but I guess because that's what we do, let's kick things off with a 33-second summary of the actual play. So why don't you start with that?
So Babar won the toss and for a change took the right decision to bat first on this pitch. And I thought Pakistan started off quite well. And then Babar held it together till much later. It should have gone on to score 100, but got out. Iftikhar and Shadab ended the innings quite well. Pakistan, one of the few teams who ended the first innings well. And I thought we posted a decent score. But the way the Afghanistan openers came out, and then the way Rahmat Shah and their captain just batted till the end, it was a clinical chase. Easy 8-wicket win for them. Looked in total control throughout.
Yeah, that was good. 35 seconds, at least something done well in a Pakistan shirt today. Look, I guess, I don't know where to start, man, but I guess for the big question people have is, so weirdly enough, we're still not officially out of the World Cup. What that means is generally a team needs 6 wins to qualify. So on paper, if we win the remaining 5 games, remaining 4 games, we still most likely will qualify. But of course, the bigger, deeper question is if we're struggling to beat Afghanistan and struggling to defend 280 against Afghanistan, how can you expect to beat New Zealand, South Africa, England, and whoever else we have to play, right? So, I mean, I guess that is the bigger question. In terms of, I mean, I guess we have to look back at the tournament, right? Generally speaking, if you look back at World Cup, generally speaking, since 92, we spoke about this in the preview. हमने 2 semi-finals खेले World Cups के 8 tournaments में से. We played in 99 with Wasim Akram's captaincy. We played in 11 with Afridi's captaincy. And Babar joined the illustrious list. Well, looks like he's joining the illustrious list of people who in the first World Cup could not make it to the semi. The list includes Sarfaraz, Misbah, Inzamam, Waqar Yunus, even Wasim Akram, not in his first one actually. So I mean, I don't know. What do you want to say, Qazi? Floor is yours.
Look, generally, you know me, I'm an optimist, right? And when there's a chance, and you have hope. But for all intents and purposes, I've conceded today. I don't think Pakistan can qualify. I don't think they have a chance. Even if they win these 4 matches, I think the end result will be what happened in 2019. We'll lose out on net run rate to an Australia or someone. So yeah, Pakistan's campaign looks over. And you know, it's disappointing. Sure, I really thought this was one of our best teams this century to go into a World Cup, and they're done well in ODIs. I don't know what changed, but in the Asia Cup, everything changed, and the story completely changed. We were ranked number 1, ranked number 2 going into the World Cup. But yeah, and honestly, I do feel you've got the best 11, the best 15 players there in India, the squad.
So it's not like हमने किसी को छोड़ दिया है जो आके selection बनने कोई नहीं है.
और लोग सब ये बातें करते हैं, बाबर के दोस्त खेल रहे हैं, रोटी गैंग खेल रहा है, ये खेल रहा है, वो खेल रहा है. I don't believe in any of that. I mean, fine, they may be friends, but these are your best 15 players in the country. If they can't do it, no one can. उसामा मीर के शोर मचाया होता, उसामा मीर ने आके क्या कर लिया यार? मतलब, and I don't know. I mean, the pitch played really well in the second innings. I mean, there was no turn, there was no seam, there was nothing. Our bowlers weren't doing anything. So I don't know if we read it wrong, if the pitch changed. I don't know what happened.
I guess let's get into the match a little bit now, right? So we won the toss and we opted to bat, which seemed like the right thing to do, especially given it was Chennai and it was Afghanistan. I think in my mind yesterday, my thought was that the only scenario in which Afghanistan can beat us is if they bat first and score 250 plus and then somehow put us under pressure.
That's what I thought as well. Yeah.
It was a nervous first innings, but once we got to 80, I thought the game was done. I thought we had the game wrapped up. I didn't see how we could. And I'm still a bit at a loss to explain the second innings में हुआ क्या है. But like,
this is their largest chase ever. You know, they've never chased this much in an ODI before, and they did so easily.
What did you make of Afghanistan decision to bring in a fourth spinner?
The right decision for the pitch, absolutely right. And look how the spinners fared. The three of them, Nabi, Noor, and Rashid, I think gave away. Excuse me, gave away what 130 odd in their 30 overs. I mean, they bowled really well. Noor picked up the wickets. Rashid didn't pick up any wicket, but just gave 40 runs in his 10. They bowled really well, and they were turning the ball. Our spinners were not turning the ball. The pitch did ease out, which is unlike a Chennai wicket. We had never lost an ODI in Chennai before. This is the first loss there. Afghanistan never chased this much. They did it. So all the firsts happened today. Unfortunately, against
and with the bat, I mean, look, we were pretty cautious in the middle overs, right? But I guess the sense there was it's a turning track. If we get 250 plus, it's a good score. Do you think that was a misjudgment on the team's part and perhaps on the pundits' part as well?
Look, I don't think so. I think 280, 290 on this wicket is also a good score. It's a winning total. And I think that is what Pakistan were probably aiming for. No one said that you need to get 300 plus on this pitch. And I, in fact, thought that 250 would even be enough. I thought Afghanistan would hold for 150, 160 against Bangladesh. That's what happened to them. But they were so clinical, so calm. They really impressed me, their batting. Even,
I mean, to be honest,
our bowling, our fielding, and everything. But Afghanistan's batting.
As far as their batting is concerned, you think if they win matches, they come out blasting, a few will come off, and that's how we'll take it. But this was the most calm, assured chase maybe I've seen in the entire tournament by anyone, actually.
When there were about 88, 89 runs left, the equation went to run a ball again, right? So, and generally, teams may panic in a situation like teams like Afghanistan usually panic in a situation like that. They did not panic at all. They kept taking the ones and the twos, kept hitting the bad balls away, and very clinical, very, very clinical.
Going back to our batting, do you think there was an opportunity for us to go harder a bit earlier? Because I think in the last 10 overs, he went for 90. Do you think we missed out a trick by perhaps being too slow from the 30th to the 40th? Or at that point, it seemed like we were playing fine?
It seemed like we were on course. And look, Babar did try to go hard and, he smashed the six and he did up the tempo, but then unfortunately he got out. Had Babar stayed on, he had started going harder earlier than the 40th over. And, but yeah, getting 90 in the last 10, I mean, that's a good end.
Also, I mean, I guess, look, this is a bit in hindsight, right? But the scorecard shows 74 of 92 from Babar Azam, right? So I get that you start early, but maybe if you play 92 balls, you need to be able to run a ball or very close to it, right? But that just sounds low. I get the track is not ideal for Babar or for batting, right? But like once you played 90 balls, difficult. You need to be close to 90.
I felt it was difficult to bat in the first innings, and they did the right thing. They were playing the spinners out. And look, the score they had in mind, they got to that.
I mean, not just there, but to be honest, all the pundits said 280 would be a very good score here, right? So to be fair.
Yes. And I think our bowlers should have been able to defend it. Fielding was really bad at the start. They just batted really well. And, even though there were a few dots, they were hitting up to the 20th, 25th over, they were hitting a boundary in every.
At the interval, I heard Shane Bond say that Pakistan's fielding has not been great, but this is a kind of total. Even if they drop two catches, they should still be easily able to make it. That was his view at the interval.
Everyone thought that, we all thought that.
So again, with
so there was a Afghanistan-Pakistan match in the ODI series before the Asia Cup.
In August,
their openers Gurbaz and Zadran, I think both got hundreds.
They had like 150, 200 an opening partnership, I think. Yeah.
Right, and then they still lost the match.
Yeah.
And I had that in mind, and I thought, even if at 150, 160 they lose the first wicket, Pakistan will open the gate there and they will crash out, but they didn't crumble at all.
Yeah. So I guess what everybody wants to talk about and hear about is Babar's captaincy, right? Especially in terms of how he handled his bowlers and the fielders. How would you rate it? And what were you was the big mistakes or the big things he did right in the second innings?
I don't know what he could have done differently. I mean, honestly, what can you do differently? You brought on your spinners at the 11th over. You started off your paces. You bought an Iftikhar in the middle. He had to get through 3 overs of spin before pace in the last 10. He did. Shadab got hit. Only thing I was surprised about was giving Osama Mir the 45th or 46th over after Haris went for 9. I thought they should have just gone with Haris. I mean, Osama Mir didn't look like picking up a wicket. So I would not have gone with spin again. The 3 overs of spin was done. You should have had Hassan, Haris, and Shaheen finish it off. But Yeah, I mean, look,
I mean,
people
look,
don't rate his
there's
captaincy
lots of
highly,
small
but
moments, right? But for me, a big glaring, what I thought was a mistake was with 11 odd overs to go. The run rate was just over 6. At that point, I was thinking, Haris and Shaheen have 3 each. Just get them on from both ends, and then jo hoga dekha jayega aakhri 4 over. Maybe we can get the spinners on.
yeah,
Because if we don't get wickets
yeah,
now, it's done. And he
yeah.
gave Shadab and Osama an over, and I think they both went for like maybe about 15 or 20 odd, which I thought that was probably the last play we had. And I just think he completely missed the trick there.
Yeah. Look, he gave Osama and Shadab the 41st and the 42nd. Those 2 overs went well for us. They did not get, when Shadab bowled the 43rd, he went for 2 boundaries in that over.
Yeah.
So I think 9 or 10 runs came off that over. So that was a bad one. But yes, he could have brought on the Pacers earlier, but I think he had those 3 overs in mind that they need to get through these. And maybe if Takhar was a better option than Osama at that time. But
I mean, honestly speaking, like I said, right, all of these changes, sure. But at the same time, I'm still at a loss to explain what happened. Like, I'm still at a loss to explain how we could not defend 280. Right? I mean,
well, yes, and look, on all these WhatsApp groups, people are talking about bad captaincy, people are talking about bad bowling, people are talking about bad fielding, all this fine. This is Pakistan. Look at it from Afghanistan's point of view. They batted really well.
Yeah.
Their openers kept hitting boundaries, they kept the rate up, they were always ahead of the asking rate. The openers were, they were really, really good. And even after they got out, Rahmat Shah and Hashmatullah Shahidi just kept continuing the same way. And they did not lose their composure even when it went to run a ball or just a bit over run a ball. They kept their composure, they kept their calm, they kept taking the singles, doubles, they ran really well. They hit the loose balls, they kept picking up boundaries. So I mean, you got to give it to them. They batted really well.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think they were, and like I said, you can expect them to chase scores sometimes, but I was amazed at the fashion they batted in. Right, it was the most calm
I was shocked.
run chase we've maybe seen all
Absolutely.
tournament by anyone actually.
It was very impressive, and it was honestly speaking India level run chase. Even Australia, while chasing a middling total against Sri Lanka, they lost 5 wickets and they looked nervous. No one has chased as comfortably as India has, and today Afghanistan. I mean, they chased it.
But
really
India
well.
also is a team which obviously attacks like crazy with the bat, right? And they look like they are taking some risk. The Afghanis never took any risk. It seemed like it was almost chanceless.
It was so easy. It was so easy. Yeah, they made it look really easy.
So, well,
I mean, an 8-wicket win. It wasn't like they won by 2-3 wickets at the end. 8-wicket crashing, man.
It's inexplicable, I think. But so yeah, I guess there's a lot to sift through. And like you said, right? If I summarize where I think the team has gone wrong on the whole tournament, for me, I mean, all the selection question marks are one of those not really obvious ones, right? So sure, you could have picked X over Y, but whether it really made a difference, we don't know, right? It's more about picking on straws. But because there's no obvious person who was left out, right? It could be Zaman or Wasim or whatever, but like, who knows?
No, man, no. I mean, Zaman Khan, yeah, T20 खेला हुआ है.
That's what I'm saying. ना कि मतलब ये कोई obvious है नहीं उसमें कोई मतलब there's no obvious things there. So you can't. It's not about selection, but clearly there's some stuff needs to be looked at. Go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, look, we're missing Naseem Shah. No doubt about that. I think the mistake which probably happened in the last 12 months that we did not groom any other bowler or give any other bowler that many chances who could have been that replacement. But even that is wrong because we did give Ihsanullah chances. We did give Zaman Khan chances. We did and Hasnain, Ihsanullah were both injured. They were good replacements for Naseem, but they were both injured.
Yeah.
And Zaman Khan was not that experienced. He may be good for 4 overs. He's not good for 10 overs. So...
And I guess a lot of the talk will now be about the selection, which I think we shared a view on. It'll be about the coaching setup, right? So regardless of what we think of Mickey Arthur, you do have a director of cricket who is doing this job on the side, where he's based in the UK as working with Derbyshire. So is he a coach? Is he not a coach? I mean, he's a director, that's his title. So the structure is a bit hodgepodge regardless of, like I said, what I think of the people in that structure. So I think a lot of these question marks will come in.
Look, you've got people like Misbah Haq, who's the chairman of the technical committee, who is just waiting for his chance to get rid of all of these people. And that's what's going to happen after the World Cup. This whole setup will be fired. You'll get a new head coach. You'll get a change in captaincy. We might get Babar, the best batsman in the world, back to his best self. I don't know who they give the captaincy to. Probably Rizwan, but who knows? I mean,
would you say? I have an answer to this. Would you say, before we move on, would you say this is the lowest moment in our World Cup history?
Look, we were having this discussion earlier, and I said losing to Ireland was the lowest
For
moment
sure.
in our World Cup history. Uh, this is not as bad as losing to Ireland.
I mean, the reality is we
This-
lost to the 9th-ranked ODI side, right? And it's a test-playing nation. So, I mean, I know we think of Afghanistan slightly differently, but they are the 9th-ranked ODI side.
They are ninth ranked and they are test playing nation. Ireland were not even in the top 10
Yeah,
and they were not a test playing nation. Bangladesh, when we
yeah,
lost to them,
yeah,
were also not a test playing nation. So no, this is not as bad as losing
yeah.
those two
So
games.
I
The
hope,
Bangladesh
I
game
hope,
probably didn't matter.
yeah.
Ireland kicked us out of the World Cup.
I
So
hope when our heroes are reviewing this game on TV, our heroes including Wasim Akram and Misbah, etc. I hope they remember that Wasim Akram lost to a team with Afghanistan against Bangladesh, and
Bangladesh
Misbah and Malik were part of the team that lost to Ireland. So I hope they just keep that in mind when they review this game.
was Misbah part of that team in the World Cup? I don't think so.
Okay, maybe he wasn't. I think Malik was.
Malik was.
Yeah,
Malik was.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't think
yeah,
Misbah was.
yeah. Yeah, Misbah, I
Malik
think he
Mis-
joined the team right after.
Misbah made his comeback after that for the T20
Yes,
in
that's
2007.
true. Okay, so
So
before we move,
and
yeah, go
yeah,
on. Sorry.
I just wanted to say, like, losses like this hurt. The last time I was probably hurt a lot was the 19 World Cup final. After that, the 2007 T20 final, and it's been we as Pakistani fans have built up so much immunity by seeing a lot of results like this that now it's fine. Just enjoy the World Cup. It's okay.
Yeah.
Pakistan will do Pakistan things, and
I guess the other thing before we move on is, also I was thinking about this. So Babar as captain has also played two T20 World Cups, and we've played a final and a semi-final, right? So
not
clearly,
bad.
if
Yeah, great
ICC's
result.
tournaments is how you judge his captaincy, then he's clearly done really well. And so, is it a case of are we saying he's very good in A format and not in the other one? Or I mean, it's a question I guess that needs to be answered. But that is also we should also keep
Yeah,
that in mind.
and I don't know what you do. Like in 6 months, there's a T20 World Cup. Do you keep Babar captain for that? I don't know.
A tournament where as captain he's taken us to the last final and semi-final, right? So,
Yeah, it's tricky.
but just to look at the remaining matches which we have coming up, which we still need to play no matter what, and just to reiterate, right? If we win these four, we will still qualify. Of course, you will ask, and rightly so, that how can a team that has lost to Afghanistan beat these four sides? But that is the reality at the moment. But we have South Africa coming up in Chennai on Friday. We have Bangladesh in Kolkata. After that, New Zealand, Eden Gardens, and England in Kolkata again, I believe. So that's that for today's game. We'll quickly review what's coming up tomorrow, which is potentially another mammoth score at the Wankhede. South Africa is taking on Bangladesh, putting up the likely 11 for South Africa. Umair, I imagine they're going to stick to the same 11. I don't see them bringing Shamsi against Bangladesh and probably stick to the exact same 11. Assuming Bavuma is not fit, but I'm not sure if he is.
I think Bavuma will be back. He is fit.
Okay.
And just poor Reza Hendricks, man. I feel for that guy. Every time he comes in because someone is unfit, he scores a 50 and then he sits on the bench. I mean, what a talent to be sitting on the bench. Yeah. Bavuma should just say, guys, you play, I'm going to chill. Wear the towel.
But there's also quota issues, right, with South Africa. So I think that also plays a factor probably.
No, but Reza is part of that.
That is true, actually. I guess, yeah. So he's not changing the quota. True.
Yeah, he's not. So Bavuma should just sit, अपना तौलिया पहन के ठाकुर की तरह बैठे और जा
जिस तरह क्लासन बैठा हुआ था. Okay, so before we wrap up, there's a small matter. There's a matter of a quiz, and it's a slightly touchy topic here, but the question is, what is Rashid Khan's ODI bowling average?
24.
It's actually 20. So I rounded off, but it's like 20.14. I was quite surprised to see this.
Nahi, yaar. Are you sure?
That's what Cricinfo said.
I really thought it was 24. Yeah. You're making me check now. Oh, man.
But anyway,
wow.
Thank you for being on the show, Umair, once again.
Yeah, thank you, Faris, as always, for having me.
And as always, I hope we're doing this in happy circumstances, but thank you for being on the show. And if you like the content we're producing, and if you think we're doing a better job than the Pakistan team, then please like the video, subscribe to our channel, and we'll be back tomorrow night after South Africa versus Bangladesh. Sorry, I'm losing my mind here. We play South Africa, Bangladesh. South Africa play Bangladesh tomorrow. We'll be back after that. In the meantime, stay tuned to the shiny side.